It's gonna be like. So what if we lose? It's gonna be all right. So what if we get swept? It's gonna be all right. So what if we miss out on the money? It's gonna be all right. That he just gives you that impression.
I'm just getting sued. Everyone's so sensitive. YouTube was demonetizing like half my videos because they were becoming more, you know, progressive, and all of their advertisers would be like, we can't have this.
You just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw tonight, Jake has spirit.
Stephen A. Smith says Jake Paul is going broke after being sued for allegedly fixing his boxing fights. He says it was not worth risking all his money, because when illegal actions are exposed, punishment always follows. Stephen adds that once the truth comes out, the damage cannot be avoided, and many media outlets report this was bound to happen sooner or later.
It's not abnormal. I'm talking about people who let it cost them their money.
Yeah.
That's all I'm talking about. If it don't cost you your money, puff, puff, and pass away. Yeah, I'm with that.
So
stay mellow.
Jake Paul reportedly says he lost his money, and even his YouTube videos were taken down because of content problems. He says each lawsuit cost him millions and the losses added up fast. Jake explains that even though he once made a lot of money, non-stop legal fights drained it all, showing how quickly wealth can disappear.
I can't like say the names, but there's like a firm who has stolen a bunch of money from celebrities in Los Angeles and athletes.
You don't want to say the name because you're probably going to get sued.
No, yeah, no.
That's another $1 million.
I'm probably gonna sue them one day.
Do a class action or something.
Yeah.
Jake Paul reportedly stands firm that he did not fix any fights and says he will sue anyone who accuses him of something he did not do. He says scripted fights are illegal and that making false claims is a serious issue. Jake adds that the accusations have no proof and could even be a federal crime, and he promises to take legal action to protect his name and career.
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson was 100% scripted. Mike Tyson repeatedly bit his boxing glove throughout the fight. When fights are scripted, fighters do weird gestures to signal that they're hurt. It's very possible Mike Tyson was biting on his glove to tell Jake Paul to calm down. Now, if that's not enough proof that this fight was scripted, in the middle of the fight, Mike Tyson is literally talking to Jake Paul while they are clinching.
Jake Paul says people are dumb for calling his fights rigged and claims they do not understand boxing. He explains that many critics judge the sport wrongly and miss the strategy behind each move. Jake says the criticism is unfair and that those who call his fights rigged do not have the knowledge to understand the skill and complexity of professional boxing.
Have all of us thinking that you was rigging those fights, though. I ain't gonna lie.
You honestly believe that?
I wanted to believe it when you fought Woodley.
Rampage.
Because I'm an MMA guy.
Anyone who believes that narrative, it's like, come on. You think Anderson Silva's gonna lose? You think
No.
Woodley's gonna take a fall? You know these guys.
Yeah, no, I didn't think Anderson would take a fall.
People think the Mike Tyson fight's rigged. I try to understand dumb people because I can't relate.
Tunny Jeff, speaking for Jake Paul, says people who claimed Mike Tyson was holding back are wrong. He explains that Mike was not holding back because if he had thrown a full punch, Jake would have answered right away. Jeffer adds that critics do not understand boxing and miss the skill, timing, and strategy of the fight, making their claims unfair and uninformed.
It's so sad that Mike Tyson has got to do this fight. This is what I wrote on Instagram, and someone commented saying he doesn't have to do it, he's choosing to do it. And then I thought, you know, you're right, he is choosing to do it, but why is he choosing to do it? Well, he's doing it for one reason and one reason only, and that is the money. He's getting paid so much money to do this. So that tells me he's getting bought. So again, it is sad that someone like Mike Tyson can get bought, because this guy is an absolute legend. He shouldn't be able to get bought like this. He's 57 years old. He needs to be enjoying retirement. Now, I don't think that I've got the wealth that Mike Tyson's got, but if someone offered me $20 million to fight Jake Paul, I would say no, because I care too much about my brain health, about my children, about my family, where it seems like he is being bought. And I'm not trying to disrespect the man. I absolutely love the man. It's just so bloody sad, in my opinion.
Meanwhile, analysts on the Joe Rogan podcast suggest Jake Paul's fight with Mike Tyson was scripted. They say Mike looked strong and sharp in training, but in the real fight he seemed to hold back. The analysts point out that his punches were controlled and his energy was lower than usual, which made the fight feel planned. They also say the pacing, timing, and reactions in the ring looked adjusted, making some viewers believe the fight was managed instead of fully competitive.
Jake Paul wants to test himself against actual, not just world champion, but one of the greatest of all time.
Are the fights even real? Like the Tyson fight? Like I saw video breakdowns of Tyson not throwing punches early on in that fight. I don't know if you watched any of those videos where like there's a left hook is 100% available. Tyson on in training 99% of the time releases that punch and he held up. Like, do you think that was that a real fight?
It looked like sparring to me. That's what it looked like.
But like with an arrangement beforehand? Like,
I wouldn't want to speculate because I haven't talked to anybody about it. But my educated assessment,
agree.
Yes.
Agree.
It looked like sparring. It didn't look like a fight.
Jake Paul's recent fight with Anthony Joshua reportedly came with rumors that Jake tried to control the match using smart tactics. However, those plans did not seem to work, and Jake mostly focused on staying safe instead of taking charge. Observers noticed he showed some strong defense, but his cautious style showed how hard it is to face a top fighter like Joshua. Analysts say the fight proved that even careful plans can fail in the unpredictable world of professional boxing.
Could this be the end for him in terms of what he's doing in the boxing ring?
Listen, so long as people will tune in and so long as Jake Paul is paid by Netflix or any broadcaster to air his fights, we're going to see this continue. And Jake Paul knows his business model, right? Now, this AJ fight, which came together kind of last minute after the Tank Davis fight fell apart. But we know Jake Paul's MO here. It's find the most popular guy with the most physical disadvantages for me to fight. And Jake Paul has the benefit that he's turned himself into a villain, or in the pro wrestling circles, a heel. People tune in to watch. We did not tune into this fight to see competitive boxing. Most of us tuned in because we thought, here's Anthony Joshua. Here's a two-time unified heavyweight champion, a guy who physically just overwhelms Jake Paul. And we're finally going to get what Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz were not physically fit, whether it be through their size, experience, or age to do, and that is knock out Jake Paul. And so because I don't really feel like we got that satisfying comeuppance that a lot of people have been waiting for, it kind of gives Jake Paul a little bit of mystique, I'd almost say, to still try and string this along. Now, I don't know in terms, he says he wants to be cruiserweight champion. I'm not quite sure what the competitive road there is, because let's make no mistake, the reason this fight lasted as long as it did is because Jake Paul focused exclusively on being elusive. He did his best, and kudos to him, right? He did a great job of not getting cornered. He was always on the gas until the gas sort of fell out from underneath him. And so I don't quite know, short of leveraging his popularity, how he's going to get to that title shot if he's not actually going to fight, like really fight an elite boxer.
During the 7th round of Jake Paul's fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., many viewers felt confused when some fans claimed online sources had already named Jake the winner before the fight ended. This early news caused big arguments on social media and made people question if the fight was real. Observers say this was not the first time, pointing to a pattern in Jake's career of carefully chosen opponents, heavy media hype, and wins that seem almost guaranteed.
As you are watching this video, Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez are currently right now in the 7th round of their fight. But when you go to Google and Google the fight, it gives an accurate breakdown of all their past fights. And then it comes to the current fight, and it says that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. loses a unanimous decision to Jake Paul in 2025. The fight has not even played out yet. Yet they're saying that this is the end results as they are fighting right now, currently as it stands. This leans testament to the fact that people state that Jake Paul has his fights fixed. What's your thoughts on this? This is nasty work. Unbelievable. This is Google. Google it yourself. Peace.
Jake Paul's fight with Chavez Jr. was not the first to face this kind of attention. Many fans say his fights mix real competition with entertainment. They notice a pattern of facing older opponents, setting up fights for big views, and shaping outcomes that favor him. Because of this, critics believe his career is more about showmanship than proving his skills against equal fighters.
Some more important and quite serious news in the combat sports world. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, it's come out now. It was rigged. I can't believe it. You know, you have to question the validity of boxing these days when you can't trust two professionals to get in the ring and do their best against each other. And instead you find out Mike Tyson pulling his punches, not trying to hurt Jake Paul. Absolute disgrace. I thought better of them. You know, I really did. I thought that Mike Tyson, especially, Iron Mike, he was just going to go in there and knock Jake clean out. But here he is, not trying. I'm so disappointed in him.
Chael Sonnen commented that it is unusual for a fighter with only 11 pro fights to face opponents with much more experience and Olympic backgrounds. He says putting a still-developing fighter in such big matches does not make sense. From his view, these fights often seem planned to create drama instead of real competition.
This isn't if I'm cheering for Jake or if I think that Joshua is more experienced or better. I believe in I believe boxing's real. If boxing is an actual sport, if it is an actual sweet science, then of course a guy that's done it 11 times cannot compete with the Olympic champion. Of course. This is before you get size in there, before you get professional world titles in there. A guy that's done this 11 times cannot go into the Olympic Games and medal. If boxing, in fact, should be believed. I was with Portnoy. I liked it. I liked how he said that. So, you know, that's how I feel, too. Because I'm also cheering for Jake Paul. But I get it. I know we're not going to win tonight. But that's a compliment to boxing. And it is very hard for people to digest that Anthony Joshua can't cut him off. He can't find him. He can't do anything with that reach. He can't go out there and rush him. He can't throw this kid in a corner and beat him up. That is disappointing to me. That is baffling to me. As an MMA guy, I will just share with you, that would not be a problem at all. At all. If a guy's running away from me, it would be absolutely no problem. And you could put the boundaries at the city line. You could put it at the state line. I will track him down. I will put him somewhere and I will beat the dog out of him. So in a ring, I get where that is really disappointing. I get it, but it doesn't change the fact that that's what happened. And then Joshua, by the way, has the right to turn to some other thing. Where I'm saying he had to cut him off, grab him, throw him in the corner, go beat him up. Well, I'm saying that Joshua has the right to go, I could feel some stuff. I knew it was going to come my way, right? For Joshua to say, well, I had the experience and yeah, he was moving and yeah, I could have cut him off a little different. But I didn't mind the way this was going. I didn't mind that he was running. I knew he would slow down. I knew he would come to me eventually. Like, for that to be Joshua's mindset is fair play.
Rogan adds that Jake Paul has always wanted to prove he is a real fighter. He says Paul wants to face opponents in the ring and show he can handle true competition. But the way his fights are set up, with carefully chosen opponents and staged situations, makes people wonder how much is real and how much is planned to help Paul's career. This also applies to his fight with Anthony Joshua. Analysts like Ariel Helwani note that Joshua, already very rich, had no reason to take big risks just for money. He focused on protecting his legacy, not chasing a payday. That's why Joshua fought carefully, avoiding mistakes, showing that the fight meant very different things for each fighter.
Going to the head, like the head is open. Upstairs is open. And I was surprised that he wasn't going there, but you know, any of this nonsense, script, bullshit. Like if you subscribe to that notion, you're an absolute idiot. You're an absolute idiot. There is no reason for, you know, first of all, you go to jail. Why would Netflix, the biggest streaming platform in the world, partake in anything like that? Just use your brain. And MVP, too much to lose. You go to jail. Federal effing prison. AJ, like for what? For what? He doesn't need it. He doesn't need more money. It's great. But to risk this? No, look at what's going on with the gambling. No way. There's no way. My respect for Jake has grown. I know people don't like to give him credit. You fight amateur, influencer, pro boxing. You have my respect. I don't care what kind of fighter you are. I don't care how many wins you have. You step through those ropes. You have my respect. He lasted 6 rounds. Most didn't think he would. I think the line as far as how many rounds was 2.5. So clearly, most people thought he would be out of there around that point, and I think a lot of people were going with the under. He had some moments. He had the antics. You know, obviously the takedowns and all that weren't great, but golly, I think he was tired. You know, the ring was bigger, and everyone said that was going to benefit him, the 22x22 ring. But you know, cardio has been an issue for him, and so when you're circling and dancing, you're going to get tired. You're going to gas out, and I think that happened. Arms were down. and he was getting pinned, he was getting cornered, and he was getting, AJ was doing a great job, I think, of not letting the fight be contested in the middle of the ring, cornering him either in the middle, like the turnbuckle, or up against the ropes. He was cutting him off perfectly. And so I know people are going to be upset that AJ didn't get rid of him earlier.
Dan Rafael talks about the Joshua fight, saying Jake Paul did well to last as long as he did. He notes that Paul's careful, defensive style, though not exciting for fans, was needed to survive multiple rounds against a fighter like Joshua. Rafael says the fight shows how hard it is to mix showy matches with real professional competition. This idea goes beyond Joshua and Chavez Jr., as critics say Paul's past opponents were picked to entertain viewers while keeping real risk low.
A Looney Tune. I mean, yeah, like you said, did it go 6 rounds and last, a few longer? I'll give credit to Jake for hanging in there. Part of it was because he employed an extremely unfriendly for fans style, but it was the only way he could do it if he wanted to survive that many rounds, which is to basically get on his bicycle and ride around the ring for a bunch of rounds and then get off his bicycle and run, like a criminal at night after the cops show up. So it is what it is. I mean, it'll be the fact that it still resonated shows you the interest that there was in the fight, and certainly that knockout was a viral clip. And and I'll quote the great philosopher Eddie Hearn. We're going to take care of Jake Paul and on to the real boxing in 2026.
Yeah, the great philosopher.
Eddie will like that.
Yeah, he will. I might take that out because he'll like it too much. Look, in terms of AJ now, I think he's always in a no-win situation. I think unless he flattened him within 10 seconds, someone would have something to say, whether it be before the fight and why is he doing this. Look, we know why he's doing it, and it helps him, I suppose, in the US market as well in terms of coming over here and making a big splash. But do you understand where some people maybe have been a bit critical with how long it's taken, or is it the fact that you fight a guy who's that, like you mentioned there, he's a novice boxer and he's moving around the ring? Was it down to Anthony to cut him off sooner, or do you see why it went that long?
I mean, look, Anthony certainly could have done a better job cutting the ring off, and Anthony Joshua was the first one to say so himself after the ring. I mean, I've always viewed Joshua as pretty honest when it comes to assessing his own performances.
Wade, a podcast host, criticized putting a 58-year-old in the ring with Jake Paul, saying such fights should never happen under normal circumstances. He said the fight's outcome and setup seemed planned ahead, mostly for money, not fairness. People see these matches as rigged when they notice patterns like chosen opponents, heavy media promotion, and controlled fight action. Even with criticism, Paul still insists he is a real fighter, taking on big-name opponents and staying constantly in the media. The controversy around his fights continues. Observers say that while Paul shows skill and stamina, the careful planning of his fights, older opponents, defensive style, and flashy promotion make many matches feel more like a show than real sport. Analysts and fans keep debating if his career shows true competition or just planned events meant to stay popular and make money.
Yes, of course, at 58, I think a lot of people in that ring could have hurt Mike because, again, Mike did not look like he should be in a ring. But we just saw this whole experiment. We don't need a Logan and Mike Tyson fight after this. For Logan to clearly not get the joke and disrespect Mike to his face after he had just fought Jake in this amazing event, and all you can really do is give him his flowers because that's what you should do right then. Logan has to take it another level and continue to be the asshole. So again, the self-awareness on Logan Paul, whether it's Lunchley or Prime or anything to do with crypto, the guy just doesn't give a fuck about anybody but himself. But then, like I said, Jake didn't really call anybody out in the post-fight presser, in his post-fight interview with Ariel, but the internet went ablaze over, him fighting Mike and how are you continuing to fight these older guys and Mike being 58 and what does Jake do next?
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for the next one.